article discusses the looming trade war between the US and China in 2018. The conflict started when President Trump's administration imposed 25% tariff, a kind of tax, on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods entering the United States. This was part of Trump's effort to reduce US trade deficit and protect American industries from what he considered unfair Chinese trade practices. In response, China retaliated by announcing its own tariffs of 106 American products, also worth around $50 billion. This product included major US exports like aircraft, soybeans, and cars. The top three exports from the US to China at that time. Other affected goods were whiskey, tobacco, cotton, wheat, and corn.
The passage discusses how the global economic center of the gravity is the shifting toward Asia. It means Asia becoming the main driver of the world economy, much like Europe and North America were in the past. Many Asian countries have achieved significant progress in reducing poverty, and region now plays a vital role. Global trade, production, Asia products about economic output and record. Some won the highest economic growth rate in the world. However, this rapid growth also bring new challenge. People now demand that process should be sustainable and inclusive, meaning it should not be only focus many but also environmental care and equipment among citizens.
The 1997 to 1998 Asian financial crisis served as a turning point. It pushed Asian leaders to work together more closely, realizing the importance of regional unity and resilience. Unlike Europe's model of integration, Asia's approach is more flexible and pragmatic, respecting each country's diversity while promoting cooperation. Asian regionalism doesn't aim to replace global connection, but rather to complement them, building bridges among Asian economies and linking them to the rest of the world. Asian regionalism refers to the growing cooperation and connection among Asian countries through trade, investments, finance, technology, and labor mobility. This cooperation strengthens economic ties and helps Asian nations support one another's growth.
How can regionalism benefit Asia? Number 1. Boosting productivity and growth. By linking the strength of Asia's different economies, countries can help each other grow faster, become more productive, and maintain steady economic progress. Number 2. Enhancing financial stability. Connecting capital market across the region can reduce financial risk, lower borrowing costs, and make it easier for countries to invest and share resources. Number 3. Coordinating economic policies. When Asian nations work together on exchange rates and macroeconomic policies, they can better handle global economic problems and reduce the impact of financial crises. Number 4. Pooling resources. Sharing foreign exchange reserve allows countries to support one another during financial difficulties and promote more investment and development. Number 5. Global leadership. By cooperating, Asia can play a stronger role in global decision-making, helping shape trade and financial system that benefits not just the region but the whole world. Number 6. Inclusive development. Regional cooperation helps better infrastructure and reduce inequality between countries, supporting growth that benefits everyone, not just the richer nations. Number 7. Addressing cross-border issues. Working together regionally allows countries to manage shared problems like health crises and safety concerns, and environmental challenges more effectively.
How can regionalism benefits the world? Boosting global productivity and innovation, Asian regionalism encourages cooperation and integration among Asian countries, leading to greater productivity, innovation, and competition. This process helps create new ideas, technologies, and industries that can raise incomes and promote economic growth, not only in Asia but across the world. Strengthening global financial stability by making Asian capital markets stronger and safer, regionalism helps ensure that financial systems are more stable. When Asian countries use their savings productively and efficiently, they contribute to the overall stability and balance of the global financial system. Diversifying global demand, Asian economies can serve as new sources of global demand. This helps reduce the risks that come from relying too much on traditional economic powers like the United States or Europe. When Asia grows steadily, it helps balance and stabilize the world economy, especially during downturns in other regions, promoting global trade and cooperation. Asian regionalism can provide leadership in maintaining open trade and financial systems by creating regional mechanisms to manage health, safety, and environmental concerns. Asia can help solve global challenges more effectively and support sustainable development, contributing to global economic progress. Although Asian regionalism focuses on improving welfare and prosperity within Asia, it also benefits the rest of the world. As other major regions reach economic maturity, Asia's growth helps sustain the momentum of global economic progress, ensuring that development continues worldwide.
The economics of Asia regionalism. Regionalism in Asia refers to the growing cooperation and integration among Asian countries in areas like trade, finance, and economic policy. This movement aims to strengthen economic stability and growth within the region while staying being connected to the global market. Historically, regionalism has had both positive and negative impacts in the 1930s during the Great Depressions. Many countries formed trade blocs and imposed currency restrictions to protect their economies. However, these protectionist policies backfired they because the collapse of international trade and finance flows worsening the global economy's crisis. Because of the experience, modern economies are cautious about creating closed and exclusive economic blocs. After World War II, leaders sought promote free and fair trade through instructions like the General Agreement, tariffs and trade, and the later World Trade Organization. They emphasize non-discrimination and a global cooperation instead of the economic isolation.
Impact and escalation. The trade dispute caused massive tension in global markets. Both the US and China targeted each other's major exports. The US hit Chinese crude across the board. China retaliated by targeting US exports like coal, liquefied natural gas, and agricultural products. As the trade wars worsened, tariff rates reached record highs, creating economic uncertainty worldwide. Business and investors feared a global slowdown due to disruptions in trade and supply chains. Diplomatic economic outcomes. Despite the conflict, diplomatic talks eventually led to partial rollback and tariffs after negotiations in Geneva. Later in London, both sides agreed to ease restrictions on rare exports and educational exchanges. However, new non-tariff barriers emerged. China limited exports of critical minerals. The US imposed restrictions on advanced technologies and student visas. Global implications. The 2025 trade war highlighted how deeply interconnected global economies are.
In early 2025, the United States, under the President Donald Trump, waged a trade war with China. The U.S. imposed high tariff on Chinese import, claiming that it was necessary to stop illegal trade practice and to balance trade between the two countries. This move was part of the broader reform of the U.S. trade policy under the International Emergency Economic Power Act. April 2, 2025, the U.S. began by adding a 34% tariff on Chinese import, a tariff liberation day. April 4, 2025, China related with the same 34% tariff on U.S. goods. April 7, 2025, the U.S. increased tariff again by 50%. April 9, 2025, China raised tariff to 84%. April 10 and to April 11, 2025, the U.S. tariff on China reached 125% and China matched this level. May 10 and 12, 2025, a trade talk Geneva, Switzerland, where both sides agreed to reduce tariff by 10%. June 9, 2025, further trade negotiation in London.